Hello everyone, in this video we'll be looking at some tutorial questions from chapter 6, that is the IS and LM model in our textbook. So firstly we have a set of true and false statements. So looking at this statement first, we're going to answer this question through false or uncertain. So the first question says, using the information in chapter 6, label each of the following statements true, false or uncertain. A. The nominal interest rate is measured in terms of goods and the real interest rate in terms of money. So this statement is false. The nominal interest rate is measured in terms of money because it determines the interest payable on loans, and the real interest rate is measured in terms of the basket of goods. B. When expected inflation increases, the real rate of interest falls. The statement is true. C. When central bank chooses the nominal interest rate, central bank chooses the nominal interest rate because it does not care too much about the real interest rate. Well, this statement is true in a sense that the central bank chooses the repo rate and the bank chooses the interest that is going to be payable on loans. So that means the central bank is interested more in the nominal interest rate, and the real interest rate is only measured in terms of the basket of goods. D. When expected inflation equals to 0, the nominal interest rate is equal to the real interest rate. This statement is true because even the equation of the real interest rate is the real interest rate equal to the nominal interest rate minus the inflation rate, the expected inflation. So in the case of expected inflation being 0, then you have the nominal interest rate being equal to the real interest rate. Second question, suppose the nominal interest rate is equal to 10% and the expected inflation equals to 5%. Determine the real rate, the real interest rate, using the following equations. So here we've been given two equations, the first equation and the second equation. So we are required to calculate the real interest rate from this equation and again from this equation. That means we will have two answers for each equation. Two answers, one for each equation and the other for each equation. So what you do here, because I've already have our equations simplified, so what you do from here, you just input or substitute your figures into the equation and you calculate that and you get the answer. So our nominal interest rate is 10%, that is 0.1 in this case, that is divided by 1, plus the expected inflation is 5%, that is 0.05, and then minus 1 from all that. And then if you calculate this, you get 0.0476. That means our real interest rate from this equation is 4.76%. Okay. Using the second equation, we do the same. We just substitute our figures. We have the nominal interest rate of 10%, and then we minus the expected inflation of 5%. This gives us 0.05. That is 5%. So from the second equation, our real interest rate is 5%. And then the second question says, now do the same considering nominal interest rate of 100% and the expected inflation of 80%. So here you do the same, you just substitute your figures. So here we have 1 plus the nominal interest rate of 100%, that is 1, and that is divided by 1, plus the expected inflation of 80%, that is 0.8, and then we minus 1. From this equation we get 0.111. That means our real interest rate is 11%. Doing the same for the second equation, we just substitute our nominal interest rate of 100%. and then we minus the expected inflation of 80%, and then we get our real interest rate is 0.2, that is 20%. Okay, so that is all that is required from you. So what you do, you just take your equations and then you substitute the amounts or the figures of the nominal interest rate and the expected inflation into your equations, and then you calculate and give the answers. So the following question says, what can you make of the two approximations? So looking at the answers, what can you make of these answers? So firstly, we look at the first calculation and we see that our real interest rate is 4.76 and our approximated interest rate is 5%. And looking at the difference between these, we have a difference of that is very low. The difference is very low. So our real interest rate, our real interest rate gives a close approximation of uh of the real interest rate. So the real interest, the approximated real interest rate is close enough to the real interest rate. So what we see here is that when nominal interest rates and the inflation rates are low, our approximated interest rate is close enough to the real interest rate. And looking at the second question, we see that when nominal interest rate and expected inflation are high, because we have 100% and 80% here, the difference between the real interest rate and the approximated interest rate, they are very high. So the approximated real interest rate is not close enough to the real interest rate when our nominal interest rate and the expected inflation are high. So that is what we can make of this approximation. That is what B requires from us. So here we give the answer that from the previous, you can see the difference between the situations when nominal interest rate and expected inflation are high and low. So in 2A, that is the first set of equations, the nominal interest rate and inflations were low, and as a result, the approximation is close enough. However, when the nominal interest rate and the expected inflation are high, that creates a big difference between the real interest rate and the approximated interest rate. Okay, so that is all for this video. Thank you so much. I hope you understand everything.